Hey there, so in this video I'm going to go ahead and just give you a walkthrough for how we're going to use the grid drawing tool from ArtTutor to put grid lines on our reference image, make it a little bit easier to draw accurately when we are working with graphite. So here goes. So you had your photo that you edited to black and white. If you didn't do that for whatever reason, there is some option to do that here. I'll kind of point that out to you, but I'm going to go ahead and use my black and white photograph. So the first step is obviously to just go ahead and click on Start. It's a little green icon here. And then you'll need to choose your file. So obviously you should have the file downloaded to the same device that you're using the grid drawing tool from. So I'm going to go ahead and click Choose File. Grab the image. Now there is a size limit, so especially if you have a higher end smartphone that you use to take your photograph, make sure that your image file isn't larger than 4 megabytes, and you can easily check that by right-clicking on it and looking at properties. So once you see that your photo has been uploaded, you're going to go ahead and walk yourself through the next couple steps, which just gives you the option to kind of rotate and adjust, to crop your image if you need to crop it, and then to fine tune some of those kind of saturation and brightness and contrast issues if you need to do that. So I'm going to walk through this part pretty quickly because I don't really need to do that with this photo. You probably won't need to do it unless you're starting from a scratch original photograph without any editing. So I'm just clicking the next button, walking that through. You'll see that if you do need to make some adjustments, they're all going to be up here at the top of the image. So really, I'm just going to move on through. This is where you would adjust for, so saturation would be a way to kind of make your color less vibrant or more vibrant, which might help you with turning it to black and white if you like, and then improving the contrast and the brightness. So, and then now we are at the grid part. Now mine is actually already set up for probably how you are going to end up setting up yours. You want to size it so that if each of these grid squares is equivalent to 1 inch, that you're going to have enough room on your paper to work. So if you're working, for example, in a 5.5 by 8.5 sketchbook, you don't want more than 5 grid squares going across. So you have the option here to edit the dimensions. You'll see that. So if I went up to say 10, it's going to adjust. I'm going to hit apply grid to apply it. It's going to adjust it, make those grids really small. Now, if you're working larger, you certainly could do that on a larger piece of paper to really kind of make it fit and scale. But that's kind of the cool thing about gridding, is that it will help us scale up an image. So even if we're starting with a really small photograph, we can draw it as big as we want to draw it. I'm going to go ahead and put mine back down to 5. The other thing that you can edit is the width of the grid lines themselves and the color. So mine is set to red and 2 pixels. I feel like having it at 2 pixels is a little bit wide. I'm not seeing the details that I really want to see in the face. And even though I'll still have the original reference photo to work with, I want to be able to kind of see some of those details. So I'm going to move this down to 1 pixel and see if that's going to do it for me. I'll apply the grid again. Yeah, that's not too bad. And I think I'm going to go ahead and keep the red because it stands out enough. You can change the color. There's not a ton of options, but I would pick something that is going to give you enough contrast so you can still see the grid lines. And then once you've done that, you're going to go ahead and click on download. And then it will save your image. It saves it as a JPEG. Make sure that you kind of put it in a location that you can find it. And then you are good to go. And you've got a gridded reference photo ready to draw from.